live.
We're live, I think.
The obligatory start.
No, fuck! Ja, men vänta, jag måste säga... Det blev väldigt svårt för mig att prata engelska plötsligt. I just gotta check if we are live. It says live, but
it says live.
Who knows? Especially when I'm in behind the wheel. No. Yes. It says health is good. Good.
Okay.
Because that's what I'm worrying about. The thing. What do you call it?
Live stream.
Yes, the bandwidth. I'm worried it's gonna start like.
Right.
Oh
yeah.
I'm just gonna link to the thing on Twitter. Så, yes. Inte så.
No.
Okay, so yes. Now the stream has officially started, and I'm gonna try to shut down everything I don't need to use. And I'd say we have officially started about now. So, welcome to, I guess this is Please Don't Make It podcast, but it's live. And it's going to be a little different because I have a guest with me. He's down there in the corner. I don't know if... Say hello to the crowd.
Hello, the crowd.
Yes. This is Christopher, a dear friend of mine. And we're going to talk about superhero movies, mostly, I think.
That's
yes. And there might be some other talk. And I don't know if you heard in the beginning, if I start speaking Swedish for some reason, it's because I'm a little nervous. But I'll try to refrain myself from using my native tongue. Because this is an international show. We're trying to reach as wide an audience as we can.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's about it. So,
yeah, where do we start?
Yep, that's about it. Goodbye.
Okay.
No, we could start by talking about why I thought, I don't know if you thought we should do this live or if you just wanted to like make a video from the beginning, but I thought it could be fun to make it a live thing because we spoke over on Facebook a while back about superhero movies. I mean, we talk a lot about superhero movies usually when we hang out.
Yeah, because we constantly disagree about it.
Yes. And we once again disagreed. We kind of disagreed on Facebook. So I thought we should I don't know if it was you or me that said that we should like stop talking about it and make a video about it. I don't remember who said it. I know someone.
I think it was me actually.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to your podcast like the day before or just hours before or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I thought this could be a good episode.
Yeah. Which one? The one where I talk about...
I don't... No, I think it was the... I don't remember. Did you have a podcast about Wonder Woman?
No, that was a video. But my first episode of the podcast was called I Hate Marvel. So
no, it wasn't that. One of the later. I'm looking at your screen now. Your screen. I don't remember actually.
Well,
it was one of them.
Yeah, and like I say, like I've said a lot of times in my podcast and on my videos, for someone who hates especially the Marvel movies, but superhero movies in general, as much as I do, I can't seem to stop talking about them. So, you know, I don't know. It's kind of contradicting, I suppose.
One thing that I've been, you always come back to when we talk about comic book movies, which it really grinds my gears. It's you always talk about that you think it's less worth because it never ends.
Yeah, but that's also a problem I have with
all long
like
form,
a lot of
long form
storytelling is it's not really my thing. I don't.
Yeah.
Like I can't even watch a television show for more than like 3 seasons before I start like getting bored with it. It doesn't matter if it's good. I mean, the only, like, for real, I think the only shows that I've finished all the way that is more than 4 seasons is, well, Seinfeld, but that's a sitcom, so it's much easier. It's not really a long form storytelling.
Not really storytelling.
No, excuse me.
Well, it's not the same way as the actual story. It's more like a collection of bits.
Yes, because it's a sitcom, and then I what else? X-Files. I've actually managed to watch all the way through once. I've tried many times more, but nope, can't do it. And then Breaking Bad, but that's like really only 5 seasons. That's it counts, but still, you know.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, even shows that I really, really like Last Man on Earth and Veep, and I don't know, well, other shows. Whenever they pass, like I really enjoy the first 3, and if the show for me is
episodes or seasons.
Seasons, usually seasons.
Okay,
So if I really enjoy a show, Last Man on Earth is actually a good example because I really, really, really liked that in the beginning. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh yeah, I saw like a few episodes, but I didn't really like it because it was like the classic, which I have a big problem with, which you should know, that I need to like the characters. And I hate everyone in that show. There's no likable character at all.
No, yeah, I agree. But I don't know.
It's the same reason I can't stand Arrested Development, and I think I'm like the only people in the world that doesn't like that show. And that's
how many seasons? No, that was just 3 seasons though. I'm sorry. I just keep going. Yeah.
No, and that too. I can't stand anyone. I don't like anyone. I don't care what happens. For example, if you take, like we talked about, sitcom like Seinfeld, everyone is a horrible person in that too. But in that show, you don't need to be on their side. You can just because it's jokes. It's like what do you say? Stereotypes and what's the other word?
Characteristics?
No,
archetypes?
No, not archetype. Whatever. Exaggerated versions of stereotypes, if you say.
And also, no, go ahead.
No, and in those shows, in sitcoms and so, there's no illusion that these are not real people. In things like Last Man on Earth or Arrested Development, they're also comedies, but in those movies, shows, you need to at least believe that they are real people.
Yeah, it has to be kind of grounded.
Yeah, exactly. And if I don't like any of them, then why do I care what happens to them?
No, I agree. But I just thought about that with Seinfeld also. I think, you know, the characters were like written so that you wouldn't sympathize with them. That was like one of the rules when they wrote the show. There were supposed to be no learning, no touchy-feely moments. They were supposed to be assholes, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that works pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arrested Development is another show that I actually have managed to watch a couple of times.
Yeah,
because it's only 3 seasons. And I don't know. Why I don't like the long form storytelling, I think, is because it feels like you're stretching. You're stretching out like the story more than it needs to be stretched. Because instead of having, maybe they have a beginning, middle, and an end, but when they get to the middle, they just stretch that out for as long as possible because you want to make. I mean, ideally, a television show. We're going to talk about TV shows for a while now, people. Before we get to movies, I think, because I think this is where it's, this is where it originates for me. Anyway, when you get to the middle, they just stretch that out as long as possible because you ideally want to make a show last for at least 7 seasons. From an economic standpoint, because from what I know, I mean, I'm not an expert. From what I know, if a show is successful after the first or second season, they extend the contract for the main actors for 7 years or 7 seasons. And that's why, they want to make 7 seasons. Even if they don't have enough material for 7 seasons, they will try to stretch it out for as long as possible. And I usually feel that somewhere in the middle there, they just, they lose sight of the ending. They might have started out going towards an ending, but then it just becomes about, they take some minor character that had 2 lines in the second season, and they give him a separate storyline or her a separate storyline, and they try to milk it. And I feel that it gets diluted, kind of watered down.
Yeah, the perfect example of that is the series Lost. That's like the perfect example of what you're talking about. But because at the moment, you probably don't know this, but at the moment I feel like we're in a golden age of television at the moment, just in shows, because now this formula that you're talking about, it's extending to 7th season and all that. People have stepped away from that more and more, like Breaking Bad, where they have a overarching story, and sure, maybe they'll stretch it out here and there, but they never lose sight. And that's why shows at the moment are really, really good, because we have this. It's not only for the money anymore. Of course, it is money, but that's all entertainment. It's about money, but it's not only about money. It's more about the vision at the moment.
I agree. and what was I going to say? Yeah, especially talking about Breaking Bad, they had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and he knew that he had to hit these certain beats. I don't even remember his name now. The showrunner for that show.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
No, I can't remember. Oh, it's so annoying. I have the box over there. Forget it. He knew the story beats he wanted to get to before he came to an ending. And I know they stretched a few things, and they even added a few episodes that didn't, that wasn't necessary. But all in all, it was, his vision from beginning to end. And that's why I think it's really good. Plus, they kept it kind of short. They wanted to, I know the producers wanted to make it longer because technically it's only 5 seasons. But they, they split the last season in 2. So there's 6 seasons, sort of. And they wanted to make it longer, but he said no, because we have told the story, and now it has to end. That's one of the things I really, really like. And
to segue over to superhero movies.
Why not?
That's like a thing that I feel like you're missing. Because the we take the Marvel universe because that's easiest to talk about, because they have went furthest through their plan than DC.
Yeah, and they're the most successful.
Yeah, that too. But in there, you have this. It's like a new kind of storytelling, which I'm really fascinated about. That they have this overarching story through like a billion movies.
Yeah.
One overarching story where we have a beginning, a middle, and an end. But then we have all these small arcs in between. That's like supporting the big arc, and that's were you saying? I don't know which movie we're talking about, but really any Marvel movie where you talked about it doesn't feel like it's end. It's not the end. It's like a stepping off point for the next one. That every ending of one more movie is like the start of the next one. So the movie never really ends.
I think the one you're thinking of when I talked about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, I think.
Oh, it's possible. I haven't seen that one
Yeah.
actually yet.
Oh, okay. Because again, it's not really spoilers. You know, there's going to be
Yeah.
post-credit scenes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That movie in itself, it was okay. I
Mm.
prefer the first one, but anyway, the thing is though that they had these strange scenes where they like introduced characters that were barely in the movie.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, like Sylvester Stallone, he's in the movie for 2 scenes.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, that's weird. They have Sylvester Stallone and he's like in 5 minutes of the movie. Turns out though that in the post-credit scene, he is part of this new group that's, I don't know what they're called. I don't know Marvel lore that good, but
Yeah.
they're gonna like become their own thing. So
No.
they were just setting up his story arc.
Mhm.
And the same thing with the golden people in the trailer. You know, I don't remember their names. The golden people in them.
No, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah,
They had to
didn't
choose
really-
the one movie I haven't seen in all the whole Marvel universe. Really.
Okay. So you know, I just that they're like the main threat for the first third of the movie, and then they kind of disappear until the ending, and then they're part of the setup for, I think, the one that I think the Shazam movie that's coming with The Rock. What's Dwayne Johnson? I think that's what they're setting up. I'm not sure.
Wait, Shazam. Isn't Shazam DC?
Oh, maybe.
Well, never mind. I'm not sure.
They were setting up something.
No. Shazam is DC, but there is.
What was I thinking of?
I think it's the other one. I don't remember the Captain Marvel, maybe.
Yeah, but that's not. Yeah, okay, that one with Brie Larson. Yeah, maybe it's that one. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but either way, they were introducing characters only to set up future movies. Like a lot of characters, more than they usually do, like in the Avengers movies or you know, like that.
Okay,
and
well, I can't really argue for or against that movie since I haven't seen it. So maybe this one is the one that doesn't even do it for me. It's possible that I will go with your team for just this specific movie, but yeah, it's Captain Marvel. Shazam is DC.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. But I just gotta say, you know, I say I hate the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
But that's kind of hyperbolic. I hate the idea of having this this extended universe or cinematic universe. I do like some of the movies. Which one is it? The Winter Soldier is like legit a good movie. That's probably the one I like the most out of all Marvel movies.
Yeah.
That's like not a real movie. It's like a really, really good movie, actually. So there are, you know.
And that's because I really like this the world building that Marvel is doing, because I think instead you see the weaknesses that you can't see this movie for itself because it's dependent on so many other aspects of the universe that it weakens this movie, while I see it the other way around, that all these other things strengthen this movie. So, for example, the Winter Soldier. There's the TV show Marvel's Agents of Shield. Yeah, which is about the Agents of Shield that's barely in the MCU, the movies.
No, they like disappear after Winter Soldier, I think.
Yeah, and in the show, there's a whole season that just talks about and handles the aftermath of Winter Soldier, and just going deeper and deeper within the lore of, okay, what does this mean? How does the world react to this? And that in itself is building up to Civil War movie with the, I don't remember what it's called, but the superhero act. The reason the superhero act is presented is because I think it was 2 seasons of Agents of Shield where they set up this and work through it and how will we handle this situation. And I think if it makes everything stronger because you have this great like backbone of lore and world that grounds everything. But yeah, if you take one movie from it and see it for itself, of course there's going to be some things you don't understand, but I think most movies in the MCU you can see for themselves. Yeah, there's going to be some things you don't get, some story arcs that you don't really are resolved in that movie, but I don't think it takes away from the experience. And
Yeah,
if you, like me, consume everything superhero, you have this. It's like the Lord of the Rings people who have read all of it and know all of it, and it's like, this movie is great because I know all these things over here and all this, and while they were doing this, this happened, and then yeah,
yeah, but what you're saying is right. And a lot of what I dislike about the Marvel Universe is more on a personal level. Like, I've never been a big fan of world building. There are a few books and movies and video games that I enjoy the world building in.
Mhm.
Overall, I prefer a much more streamlined story. Where you have focus on, like, it doesn't even have to be a few characters. It could be like 10 or 15 characters,
No.
whatever. But that you focus on these characters, and the world that is built up around them is just there to make their stories feel grounded.
Mhm.
Trying to think of a good example. No.
Just turn around and take a movie. You have like 3 shelves of movies.
3.
Well, that I can see. Well, 3.
Yeah. Well, there's a few. Damn it. Oh. Well, yeah, no, it's not a perfect example, but it's a pretty good example.
Mhm.
Because the Cloverfield movies, because there's technically 2 now.
Yeah. Technically.
There is so much world building, well, not so much, but there is a lot of world building around the movies, but it's not essential for you to enjoy any of the movies. You can even enjoy the movies separately if you want to.
Yeah.
Because it's technically they are not sequels, really.
No.
From the beginning. But anyway, but they built this entire world of corporations and monsters and people just to make Cloverfield work. But in the movie, that doesn't really matter. It just enriches the world. It builds on the world to like avoid plot holes, or if people would ask, like, where did the monster come from, they can answer that, but they don't have to answer it in the movie. And they also don't have to make like 10 movies explaining where the monster came from, or what the corporation was doing with the monster and stuff like that.
And in that example, I remember watching Cloverfield for the first time, and I was irritated regarding those things. They're dropping names. They're dropping names and like the Cloverfield project and all these things. And I was like, yeah, tell me about that. And they'll go, no, you gotta have to find that out by yourself. Bye now, go away.
Because that's what I like, especially about the first one, because they mention a lot of names and stuff.
Yeah.
But I always feel like that stuff is supposed to be like just background. It's dressing. It's white noise in the background. What we're focusing on is this. Well, in this movie, it was a very human story about a guy trying to find his girlfriend. But there's all this stuff in the background.
Mhm.
But it's not essential to tell the story about this guy and his girlfriend. And that's the kind of world building I like. But for me personally, no. I don't know if have you. Anyway, now we'll take it after. Now, I was just thinking. Me personally, it's a joke from what's it called? The Nerd Crew.
Don't know it.
Red Letter Media. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever. I'll link it later.
Okay.
For me personally, oh no, I lost my train of thought now.
World building.
Yes, world building. Yeah. For me, it doesn't have to. I usually don't ask those kind of questions like you did after Cloverfield, because my focus is usually on the characters and on the story, like the main story, the main thread that is going through the movie. And the other things, they're just fascinating, and it's dressing. It's just the scenery in the back. So, like Star Wars is a good example also. The original and I guess the prequel trilogy, because there is so much information about every planet you don't even see in the movies, characters that are like in one scene. They have like names and what do you call it, family trees and stuff like that. But it's not essential for you to know those things to enjoy the movies. But there is all that world building if you want it. So that's the kind of world building I like.
But I have to. Why can't you do that with the Marvel movies? Just because you can ignore the other movies and say no, it's just dressing. No, those movies are that's just some background for the real story about. For example, if we take Ant-Man, you've seen Ant-Man, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that it's just a story about a man trying to change his life, and all the other things in the background with the Starks and the Agent Carter and all that. That's just background. That's just dressing, and you don't need to care about that because it's just a story about a man trying to fix his life after prison. You're using an argument why the superheroes movies are great for another movie.
I guess, but yeah, I might contradict myself a little bit. This is not a flawless statement I'm making. I just
no,
want to say that.
Win this. I win. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Round 1 goes to Christopher. Yep. No. And I agree, especially with Ant-Man. It's a good example because that movie is very confined to its to its own story. There was barely. I mean, they mentioned Stark in the beginning, and Agent Carter's in one scene in the beginning.
No.
But yeah, you don't have to have seen Agent Carter to understand that scene.
No.
It works on its own.
I would say I'm not entirely certain, but if you follow, because no, you can't see Iron Man 3 without seeing Iron Man 1 and 2, obviously, because it's a third one. So that's one of the mini arcs in the overarching story.
Yeah.
So you have to follow those. But for Ant-Man, at the moment, it's going to be more. But at the moment, it is only one movie. You can only watch that. Same with the first Guardians of the Galaxy, the first Iron Man, the first Doctor Strange, the first of every mini arc. You can see by itself.
Yeah, I think basically every origin movie works
also
on its own.
You can see all the Iron Man movies without seeing any other. Or
definitely
all the Captain America movies without seeing any other, because you can, as long as you choose one mini arc, you can only watch that and don't care about any of the others.
Yeah,
really. So that's what I'm saying. It's like you have all these mini arcs, like this mini. It's like this. I believe we, in our youth, we were talking about these things like, what if this character. What if this movie is in the same universe as that movie? I think a good example. Well, that's actually true. But if you got Rules of Attraction and American Psycho, for example.
Oh yeah.
Those movies are in the same universe, but they actually don't really intersect at big events or something like that.
Yeah. And I really like that thing, but that's because it's so low key.
Yeah.
It's only, I mean, they mention they don't even say Patrick Bateman. They say Patrick, and that's it.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. I like those kind of things.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can watch. There are like separate stories within the big story, and you can watch one of them without watching the other. And I agree with that, especially Iron Man, since that was like the start of the whole thing.
It was.
Yeah,
I was double checking that one because the Incredible Hulk actually came out the same year, but everyone forgets about that movie. It's
it's terrible.
But like
I thought that was 2009.
No, 2008. A few months after, but everybody forgot about it.
Yeah, because that is real terrible.
Yeah, I think that I barely even count it in this universe because they changed the actors. So I barely count it, but if you need to count it, I think that one or Thor: The Dark World is the two weakest
Worst.
in the entire series, I think.
Yeah. And also it's a weird thing, just to go off on a tangent here. Because the Incredible Hulk is actually like a spiritual sequel to Ang Lee's Hulk.
Is it?
Which is not a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Wait, is
Yeah,
it really?
I mean, well, they not well, sort of, because the Incredible Hulk takes. I mean, it starts sort of where Ang Lee's Hulk ends in the jungles of whatever
Oh
Brazil. I don't
yeah.
remember.
Oh yeah.
And
So
they do.
it's not a sequel. It's more like it's like the cliff notes of Ang Lee's Hulk happened. Like
Yeah, definitely. Ang Lee's Hulk did not happen in the Incredible Hulk
yeah,
universe, if you will. But
yeah,
they skipped the origin story of Hulk because they'd already made that movie.
yeah, yeah,
So it begins like in the middle.
yeah.
So it sort of notices that there was a Hulk movie before, but
Yeah.
at the same time it doesn't. I really like Ang Lee's Hulk, though. I just gotta say.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like that too.
I'm one of the few. Oh yeah,
That's
you too.
yeah. That's something actually I wanted to bring up. I wasn't really sure how we would segue into that, but I want to take it up because it's something I've been talking about a lot, and I really like it. That the superhero movies, yeah, superhero movies goes in eras just as the comic books do, like the gold and silver, bronze.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the same thing in um, the movies that we have like first we have like the 50s era with Adam West and all that, but they don't really count because nobody actually took it serious. It was just, it was
Not really.
yeah. So yeah, we don't count that. But I think the first area is that, am I pronouncing that right? Era. Yeah. It started with Tim Burton's Batman.
Really?
Yeah, I think so. 89.
I would argue Superman in 76. Or no?
Yeah. Wait.
You have the list thing.
Yeah, I'm checking through the. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's the first one.
It was 76.
Well, if you want to go through that, it's actually 74 with Wonder Woman and Flash Gordon.
Oh, well, so. Yeah. Okay. I guess, but so, yeah. I'm kind of anal with trivia. It was Superman came out in 76. Just
no. 78.
God damn. Okay. Anyway,
so yeah, that's the first era with Wonder Woman, but all these are TV movies, but still.
Okay. Yeah, but the first Superman was a theatrical release. That's why I thought that was the beginning.
Yeah. But before that, there was like Wonder Woman, Flash Gordon was a theatrical release actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then the Superman, and then the Captain America ones.
Yeah.
Do
they mention the old Fantastic Four in that one? Because it's technically unreleased, but you can watch it.
No, I don't think. I only think they put up the releases.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So Superman and all those. What's his name? What's his name now again?
Who?
Superman. He played Superman.
Christopher Reeve.
Christopher Reeve, yeah, that era.
Yeah.
And that was like the same era with the first comic books. Like it's just a hero. So we have any story arcs? No, it's a hero. He can lift.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and throw them. Yeah, he's a hero. That's everything.
Yeah, and every movie was its own like contained story.
Yeah,
and I really like those movies.
Yeah, I like them, but it's more like this like a nostalgic feeling for an era for a time I never experienced.
Yeah,
it's more like that. It's not. I can't really say they're good movies. It's not good movie, I wouldn't say, but they're fun. They're fun.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the second era, like in comic books too, when it started to get dark. Also, around the 90s.
Around the mid 80s.
Yeah, and at the same time, the movies did the same thing with Tim Burton's Batman, The Punisher.
Yeah, I like that one.
Return of the Swamp Thing. I'm checking the list. I'm checking the list.
That's true.
And all those movies like that, where it's like it's dark, but it's not really dark. It's like
No,
so
they were
dark.
like they were trying to make it, because comic books, they're just for kids, and then
Yeah,
oh yeah, they saw the Punisher,
yeah,
where he, like,
yeah,
straight up kills people with swords and stuff,
yeah.
and then
They're
same
they're
thing with
dark.
Batman.
They're dark in the way that it's a grown up movie, if we say it like
Yeah,
that. But
but
it's
but
not dark dark. It's
no,
for grown
I mean,
ups.
I don't know if when you watched Tim Burton's Batman,
Yeah.
when did you last see it?
It's at least 5 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I watched it a little while ago, and
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's still kind of dark in some aspects,
Yeah.
but it's kind of silly.
Yeah.
It's kind of silly.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Exactly.
music and Jack Nicholson is great as the Joker, but he's like hamming it up,
Yeah.
like big time. But
Well,
for
then
its
I-
time,
and
yeah, it
then
was really dark.
and then after that, it's almost. I'm not. I don't want to say it's because of that movie, but it feels like. But
Yes, it is. It's because of that movie. I don't know what you're gonna say.
Batman and Robin.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's because of that movie. It
Yeah.
killed comic book movies for a while.
Well,
Definitely.
yeah, it killed comic book movies, but also set the scene for what comic book movies should be.
Sure.
Because after that, then we got this weird, campy, like bright colors. I don't know, like the first Spider-Man trilogy, for example, Fantastic Four, Ang Lee's Hulk. This I don't really know what to call it. That
No, I
kind
know
of
what you mean. Yeah, they're very colorful.
yeah, really colorful and a little campy at times. And it's like
Yeah, at times, especially Spider-Man.
yeah, and that's also when the X-Men movies came.
Yeah, but
The
the
first
X-Men movies
X-Men.
were kind of different, though.
Yeah, because that's why they like still stand as a great movie. Nobody talks about Fantastic Four 1 or Fantastic Four
No,
Silver Surfer, but people
no.
still talk about the X-Men, the first one, because they actually put in some like character development and like
Yeah, and if you don't count Blade, which was very
yeah,
kind of low budget, but it was not
yeah,
like a major release.
yeah,
Yeah, X-Men was the first like serious comic book movie
yeah,
since like the Batman, Batman Returns, I suppose.
yeah. And that's 2000 when those movies
Yeah,
started to come in. And then we have that era which was like something like a mix of the two eras before, like the Adam
yeah,
West Superman and the Tim Burton Batman, like a mix of those in some way.
yeah. Like they were trying to make him still a little more serious, a little more darker,
Yeah,
but they wanted to create franchises. That's why
yeah,
we
yeah,
have a
yeah,
Spider-Man trilogy and the first X-Men trilogy, and then
yeah,
they continued. But
yeah. And then at what is it, 2008? Yeah, 2008.
mm,
Then
mm,
this era we have now with the world building era, when they're trying to build a huge world, because
yeah,
all these movies we had before were like Spider-Man and X-Men, and people were like, aren't they supposed to be in the same world? Aren't they
yeah,
connected in some way? But because of the rights and because nobody ever thought about it, they were no, no, they're not. But I have this comic book when they're fighting each other. No, you don't. Shut up.
no,
Go away.
those are comic books, son. These are
Yes,
movies. These are movies.
exactly. And then they tried to like, okay, this is what the fans want. Let's build this massive universe with everything where we can have like we can have these small arcs, but if you want to see them together, we have the beginning, the Avengers, the middle, Civil War, and the end, the Infinity Wars. We have this
Mm,
huge arc with the beginning and then beginning, middle, and end. That shows all these characters together.
yeah, yeah. Um, I agree.
But which of these do you think? Which of these eras do you think is the best one? Which do you prefer?
Well, I think technically my favorite superhero movies are from this era. I
No.
think, like Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
But I think, but that's also for very personal reasons. I think I enjoyed the era before that, the Spider-Man and X-Men era,
Yeah.
better. But that's mainly because Spider-Man 1 and 2 are, well, they're also some of my favorites. We don't have to talk
No.
too much about the third one, but also that they were directed by Sam Raimi,
Oh yeah.
which is a huge like personal favorite of mine.
Mhm.
I mean, he inspired he inspired me to make movies. I almost said I haven't really made movies, but I want to make movies because of him.
Yeah.
So that's like a big thing. Why I think I prefer those. Plus that they also instead of stretching it out over an entire universe, you have 3 movies, which
Yeah.
are 3 separate stories, but there's also one plot going through all 3. And
Yeah.
after 3 movies, they were done. So it's hard, but I think I prefer the like early 2000s
Yeah.
with X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah. Also, those are the superhero movies we actually grew up with. Also, so
Yeah, that's a big part of
we
it.
have that that thing. But,
Yeah.
So yeah, I can watch like any of those movies and really have a great time.
Yeah.
But none of
That's
them are
nostalgic.
actually great, except maybe Spider-Man 2. Maybe.
Yeah, I would also argue that Spider-Man
Yeah.
2 it's like a legitimately good movie,
Yeah.
like Winter Soldier.
Yeah. So yeah.
Anything else?
Well, not on that topic. I just wanted to go through the different eras. No, oh yeah, that's also why that we talked about that regarding Logan.
Yeah.
That the X-Men movies and their timelines, nothing
Yeah.
of them makes sense.
No.
Yeah.
And that's oh no. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's because it's the only series that's started in one era and tried to go over into this other era without really changing any cast or story, and that doesn't work because it's 2 different ways of making movies.
Yeah, and
Um,
they try to like make it like a big franchise with like a
Yeah.
main story and like side movies like the Wolverine movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Um,
it doesn't really work.
I have someone is want you to look at the comments. I can't see
Oh,
them
damn it.
apparently.
No.
No, you can't.
Aha, titta där. No, nu pratar jag svenska igen. Yes, it's Martin,
Oh yeah.
another friend of mine.
No.
What is he saying? What about the Hulk TV series? That show was aiming for a semi-series vibe.
Well, yeah, but that's
Wait,
still wasn't that the Adam West era, really? Like, maybe it's not the same time, but it's in the same era. Really.
I would say it is more. I haven't really watched a lot of it, but
No,
it's definitely more serious than the Batman, Adam West's Batman.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Reeves, not Adam West. Reeves, the Reeves era. I mean.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Reeves-
definitely.
the Reeves.
Because you said it, Superman came out in 74?
78.
78?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and it's the same year as the Hulk TV show. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess they wanted to like create a similar kind of movie,
Yeah.
or well, TV show as Superman with the
Yeah.
Hulk. But back then, TV was not what TV is today. So they couldn't really create like a believable Hulk the way they did with Superman
No,
because it was
no.
a TV. So I guess it counts, but it's a TV show, so it doesn't count.
Yeah, and also in those in that era, yeah, it was like it was kind of campy in this like I am strong and I can throw things. I'm a hero deal, but
Yeah.
but also some of this like I think it's Superman. I don't know 3 maybe. I'm not sure. No, it's not good, but they tried to handle like Superman being an alcoholic and stuff. I think it's 3 or
I think
4. I don't remember.
It's three or four. I
Yeah.
think it's the third one. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The fourth one is
And like they tried to go dark with those movies. So I'm not saying it wasn't dark. I'm just saying they were kind of simple.
Yeah,
there
and they
wasn't
were-
like
they were
it was-
campier.
yeah, and it was more like I am hero. Oh no, I'm not hero. And like yeah. So there were some tougher subjects and some seriousness in it, but it never really went into the deep, like the the deep and
No,
gritty
no,
of storytelling. And
I
I don't
agree.
think what I've seen of the Hulk TV series, they didn't really do that in that either. What I can see, yeah,
No,
they took some,
they tried,
yeah, they
but
tried, but they never really went like hard for it because it was a family show after all. So
yeah, and it was supposed to be like this week in Hulk. It
yeah,
wasn't really an overarching story. It was different
exactly.
adventure.
Yeah, it was an overarching story at the same way as Knight Rider
Oh,
was.
yeah, exactly. Now
Yeah,
that's a good TV show.
yeah, like running from the law, and yeah, that's the overarching story.
Yep.
And
And
that's
there's
like,
talking cars.
yeah,
So
and it's Hulk too, I think, if
your
I remember
argument is
correctly. Like he is hunted by someone. That's the
yeah.
story. Yep.
But yeah, I wanted to mention that there's not really. I wanted to say that there's some similarities between that era of superhero movies and this era of superhero movies.
Okay.
That I just thought of this now, so it might not really work, but I'm gonna try.
Yeah.
That there is a lot of focus on how should I say it? There is a lot of focus on like the plot that Superman has to stop Lex Luthor. Iron Man has to stop. I don't know what the bad guys are called in the Iron Man movies. Some Iron Man bad guy.
Yeah, they're the most forgettable the most forgettable bad guys ever because they don't have cool names. It's like what is in the first movies? It's like
I think
John
it's called Odie.
Rogers, the uncle.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Jeff Bridges' character.
Yeah.
Isn't he called Odie?
I don't know, like some random businessman.
Yeah, so boring.
Who cares, really?
Who cares?
Yeah,
Who cares? Yeah, exactly.
They're fun. It's fun to watch, but it's not like they leave an impression like the Green Goblin or like Lex Luthor or someone like that.
Yeah, yeah, and also I wanted to mention that so like back then you mentioned that they tried to portray Superman as an alcoholic, but in the end those 4 Superman movies were very like surface level when it came to like characterization. It was more like an adventure. He was trying to stop the bank robbers or Lex Luthor. And there is there is a lot more characterization in these new movies, especially with Iron Man and Captain America. And I suppose like Black Widow, not so much Thor. Anyway, there is definitely a bigger focus on the plot because there is a lot of this. They have their own plots. They have the overarching plot, and they have the world building. And that's also a thing that I feel a bit of like the characterization and the personalities of the superheroes gets kind of lost in the mix. I mean, it's not like they're like one-dimensional, shallow characters. I mean, they feel like real people. But if you think of how they characterize Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy, I mean, that's on a whole nother level. Those are also some of my favorite superhero movies. But because it is once again more focused on, well, it's more or less focused on one character throughout all 3 movies. And they're building this entire world behind him. So that's also one of the things I enjoy more with these more focused stories. They can focus and make like, well, it's quality over quantity. Instead of having 62 okay characters, you have one really, really good character. So that's one of the things, for me at least, that I prefer with other superhero movies than the Marvel movies.
Yeah. Obadiah Stone, apparently his name.
Obadiah. Yeah.
Like,
yes.
Old man, uncle. I don't know. What's he called? Like the Mandarin? Is it like?
In the third one.
Yeah, and he's not even the bad guy. It's like some other guy, some other business guy.
Yeah, that was both really cool and really annoying because Ben Kingsley's the Mandarin was so awesome.
Yeah,
and I was like, no, it's the nerd.
Yeah. Oh,
weird, but it was
the one nerd that we showed one scene in the beginning and then never mentioned. I wonder if he has something to do with this.
That could be why they chose like a super famous actor. What's his name?
Oh, the alien, the Prometheus guy.
Hold on. He's called. Guy Pearce.
Yeah, Guy Pearce. Guy Pearce, like the weirdest. He makes so much weird choices as an actor at the moment.
That's why I mean he's always kind of done that.
I think
He doesn't really. Yeah, I mean he goes for like the big paying movies, if you will. Sometimes,
No.
like Iron Man 3. But at the same time, when he was already an established actor, I think when he made Memento.
Yeah.
He makes these little small movies like what's called The Stand, was like a modern western.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not talking about those movies. I'm talking about like in Iron Man, like the weird business guy, like he, and in like Prometheus. I was like, yeah, he's the old guy.
Yeah.
At least he doesn't play a role that's memorable anymore. He doesn't play a role that you like care about. He's just the random good.
Yeah, I think he sees himself as a bit more of a character actor, so that he wants to take on the little different roles.
Yeah.
That's why he picks those instead. He could probably get like bigger parts if he wanted to, but he just chose not to, I suppose.
Yeah. I guess some birdies is talking about he's brilliant in the Ravenous, whatever that is. I haven't seen it.
It's like a cannibal movie. Oh, it's our only viewer.
Yeah. Whoa.
He's good in Ravenous, but I'm not a super fan of the movie. But he is good in it.
I'm keeping the chat up so he doesn't feel alone.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm gonna see if I can like have the chat up at the same time. But yeah. What were we talking about? Superhero movies.
Well, we started with the X-Men. That's why we. I don't know how we even came to Guy Pearce, but we started with X-Men. Yeah, that the X-Men series is not working because they're trying to do movies in two ways at the same time.
Oh yeah. And the thing that because a big problem with that is that they had the initial trilogy. With X-Men 1, 2, and The Last Stand.
Yeah.
Wait, I feel so sad for you. That's why I'm watching. Well, then, if it's out of pity, you can stop watching, Martin. No, I'm just.
That's
kidding.
how you
Please,
get a viewership.
Yes, please keep watching, peasants. Please keep watching. No, yeah. The problem is that they made the first three, and you know. Yeah, the first two are really good, and then the third one it's not as bad as people say. I don't know if just
I actually saw it the other day. I watched through all. Yeah, I watched through all the X-Men movies back to back.
Yeah,
like a few weeks ago. Jesus Christ, the third one. It's worse than you remember in every way.
It is. Yeah, I know it's definitely worse than the first two.
Yeah, but it doesn't have.
Far.
It doesn't have any focus at all, and it's like the plot holes are everywhere. And yeah, it has like a few cool scenes that you remember. You remember those cool scenes like with Nightcrawler in the beginning, and you're like, oh yeah, it's a cool scene. I think that movie's kind of good because they had that cool scene. No, it's not. It's like that cool scene, and everything else is shit. It's like pure shit. Everything else.
Well then. I gotta rewatch it, but at the same time, I don't wanna. Now that you say that, okay.
But I can talk about how bad that movie is for ages. Yeah.
But but they had a successful trilogy, and it was called The Last Stand. It was supposed to be the end. But then and then they were gonna do the origin movies. They did the X-Men Origins Wolverine. They were gonna do like Magneto and
Xavier. Origins Gambit is still in production.
It is?
Yeah, it still is since then. It's still.
And I really want to watch that. Gambit is like one of my favorite X-Men.
Yeah, I know. It's like everyone's favorite because he's like the dark, cool, brooding guy.
Yeah, he's so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
He's so cool.
In animated show, at least he is.
Yeah.
Even with that dorky like head bandana thingy, I don't even know what that is.
It's just the headband, right?
No. It's a headband, and then it goes down at the sides of his face and under his chin for no apparent reason.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. It's just like it's not. It doesn't like enhance his power or anything.
no.
It's just something he has on his head for
Yeah,
some stupid
it's
reason.
weird. Yeah. Also, Channing Tatum is still like as Gambit. Channing Tatum.
Well, then they got to make that movie soon because he's not getting any younger.
Yeah, exactly. But he's been on and off that movie. I think it's like 4 times now. When he's been like, no, I'm gonna do this other movie, so I can't be with it. And then when he done that
Okay.
movie, they're like, yeah, we still haven't made it. I'm in. No, I have this other movie now. And then he came back. We still haven't
Yeah.
did. I'm in. There's every movie. I think he goes up like
Well,
he goes up the driveway after each movie he makes. Like, hi, how's it going? Still writing. All right. And then he goes away.
well, we're in pre-production. But yeah, what I wanted to say, why I think they messed up with the X-Men movies
Mhm.
was because they had the trilogy and it was
Yeah.
supposed to end there, and then they were going to do the spin-offs,
Yeah.
which were going to be prequels.
Yeah.
But then nobody liked the one prequel they did, so they kind of scrapped that idea,
No.
and then they thought, oh, let's just make a proper prequel that is
First Class.
yeah, it was First Class, but it was supposed to be more of a spiritual sequel than an actual prequel. I mean, spiritual
Oh, yeah.
prequel to the
Which it
X-Men
actually
movies.
like was the first one.
Yeah,
actually.
it wasn't supposed to be the actual prequel to the first X-Men movie. It was just
I need
supposed
to
to be
check
its
up
own movie.
When that was made, First Class.
2011.
Was it
Right?
2011?
Come on.
Yeah, it was. Good work.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and that's 3 years after the Marvel started with Iron
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, and I think because that's also because Marvel as its own studio, I suppose, together with Paramount back then,
Yeah.
they still owned like Iron Man and Thor, some of the more lesser known characters. So that's why they started making those movies. But when other studios saw that those Marvel movies were so successful, they wanted to they wanted to use their own franchises that they had, like X-Men with 20th Century Fox, I think it is. Yeah. So I think that's also why they did First Class. They thought, oh, we could just start over and make a new X-Men franchise to kind of cash in on the Marvel success. But then they wanted to bring back, of course, Hugh Jackman because everyone loved him as Wolverine, which is understandable. He's great in it.
Yeah, great.
And I think that's where they kind of had to mess up the timelines because they wanted to make a separate timeline, its own kind of timeline for the First Class movies, but they wanted to keep Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, but even though he was from that first timeline. So that's why they made Days of Future Past, which was supposed to be like, this is where we retcon everything because it takes place in the future, but we go back to the 70s. So
and that's not a bad idea. I think like I like that idea. Like Star Trek did the same thing. I like it that they're like the other things happened. They happened, but they don't matter anymore. It's I like that thing. That like the hardcore fans is like, what do you mean? It's like what different.
So you can like
I invested so many years in this thing and now it didn't happen. Well, it still happened, but just not over here anymore.
No, yeah. But
it's better than remaking it, I think.
Oh, well,
it's better than remaking.
If it's done right, which I don't think X-Men movies did, because they really messed it up, because they want to tell a new story with Days of Future Past.
Yeah,
they kind of merge First Class with the first trilogy, and the problem was though that the first trilogy didn't happen. They kind of they erased that with the ending of Days of Future Past.
Yeah.
The problem is in the Wolverine movie in 2013.
Yeah.
They were like scenes from The Last Stand that was used as flashbacks, and the Wolverine still remembers killing what's her name, Jean Grey, in the end of The Last Stand.
Yeah.
That is what's tormenting him. That's why he's living in the woods. Yeah. So that they were still trying to mix those two.
That as stated, I just saw all these movies. That makes sense. Wolverine is the only one who remembers the old timeline because he lived through them both.
Okay.
Because they
you mean
like
that the both
brain
timelines
thing.
exist?
Yeah, because they did this brain. He sent back in time and blah 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 blah. And then when he catches up with the new timeline.
Yeah.
He doesn't remember the new timeline. So the Days of Future Past actually ends with him going into Xavier's office, and
Yeah.
Xavier is saying, yeah, and Xavier is saying
future.
like, so oh, you seem a little out of it.
Yeah, I have a lot to tell you. Or something.
No, and then he says, and then Wolverine says, yeah, I need to be catch up on some things, and Xavier says, like what things? And he's like, everything since 1975 or whatever he goes back to.
Oh, okay.
So he
Yeah,
only
that makes
remembers.
sense.
He only remembers, but nobody else remembers the old timeline.
Okay. Because I had this theory back when Days of Future Past came out that
Yeah.
the original trilogy was actually the aftermath of what he did in 1975 in Days of Future Past, but that doesn't make sense then.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that was a fun idea until you ruined it.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
But there are things that they it's so simple. Either when they made First Class, either when they made it, they never planned on acknowledging the old trilogy.
Yeah.
Either that, or they were really sloppy, because there's things like in the first X-Men movie, Xavier says, like it's just a comment, really. It doesn't mean anything, but for me, as I watched them, that just makes sense.
Yeah, but there's those small things that kind of matter.
He says, I met what's his face, Magneto, whatever he's called, I don't remember.
Oh no. Okay, whatever. Magneto.
Yeah. I met him when we were 17.
Yeah.
And in First Class, no, it's a lot. I don't care how smart he is. He's the professor at 17. It's not possible. No. Also, Magneto is a lot older than he is in that movie.
Yeah.
They say we met each other when we were 17. It's like these little things that are like, but why didn't you acknowledge this? You could just have in First Class, if you planned on using the old trilogy, you could just have like, yeah, they met at like high school for a minute, like about high, when they were 17 or something. Like it would have been so easy to just put that in just to make it right, but no, they didn't care.
No,
and these little things like screw up the whole series.
Yeah, and I think that is actually something that the new Marvel movies have done kind of right, because they started from the beginning. They started fresh with all. That's why they did all the origin stories and all those things. So they really could. There wouldn't be any plot holes like that. I mean, there are a few plot holes, but overall, those movies, they really click. They really gel, all of them together, and that's something that is good. And I think, except for Star Wars, which isn't really an expanded universe like that, it's more like 2 trilogies, and now it's going to be a 3rd one. But I think that Marvel is like the only cinematic universe that has ever really worked this well for this long. I mean, they've been doing it consistently for 10 years.
Yeah, and they're planning on 10
next
years
year.
More, I think. But that's one of the things that I really love about it, because they are building this great universe, and they have planned it out, and it all clicks, and nobody has ever done anything like this before. You can, like, nothing like this has ever been done before. It's always been sequels, remakes, spin-offs. It's never been like this planned, cohesive universe.
No, and that is commendable.
Yeah,
that they actually stuck with that idea for that long.
The only thing I wish, I don't think they will do it, but I really hope they do, because that would really solidify this universe for real for me. That's when this when it's like phase 3 is over.
Yeah.
The last everything they have publicly acknowledged that's going to be released. So Avengers Infinity War Part 2.
It's going to be the end of
No,
Phase 3.
it's never going to be the end because they will never stop making money, and it won't stop making the movies until they stop making money.
No, but it's going to be the end of Phase 3.
Yeah, exactly. The Phase 3. And what I wish, which will really make this world real, is if the majority, I would like all, but that's not gonna happen. But the majority of the superheroes actually die,
Hmm.
and the next phase, like Phase 4 or whatever, will be new people taking up the old identities,
Yeah.
like they've done in the comics at the moment. I mean, like
yeah, they've switched as almost everyone, right?
yeah, like
I know Iron Man and Thor at least.
Iron Man, Thor, Captain America,
Spider-Man.
Captain
Oh
America.
yeah, Captain America.
And yeah, like most of them, and that would really solidify it like a real universe. Because if all of them survive Phase 3,
Mm.
first of all, most of the most of the actors have said they won't do any more after that.
No.
Especially Robert Downey Jr. He's like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna be too old. I'm not gonna do this anymore.
No, what he actually said was, "No, I'm going to be too rich. I don't want to do this anymore."
Okay, yeah, sounds more like him, but yeah, paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But so that's gonna be a problem if they're trying to like just recast it outside of the story. That wouldn't work.
No, it's not going to work. They
And
can't
also,
just say that, "Oh, this is Iron Man," and it's like
Yeah.
someone else.
and also it will make this I don't know what it's called, but like the protagonist.
Protagonist?
No, it's a Red Letter Media also.
Yeah. Oh,
Protagonist. No, like the protagonist syndrome, where you're immortal because you're the protagonist.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's starting to get up there with the superhero genre at the moment. Like
Oh, yeah.
Iron Man can't die because he's Iron Man. It's like he's the main guy, so he's immortal, and he's never really in danger. Like
Yeah.
in the Phase 1 and Phase 2, the you could like, yeah, maybe something will happen. I don't think so, but maybe. But Phase 3 is like, no.
No, it's not.
And that's the biggest ruiner of any world, really.
Yeah. I was just gonna say that was a good segue back into the, I guess, debate, because now we've just been talking for a while.
Oh yeah.
That's another thing I really don't like when you franchise this big.
Mm-hmm.
There becomes these patterns where the movies become very, not always, but in some aspects they become very predictable.
Yeah.
Like that Captain America he's not going to die. Like when I watched Civil War, I was never like, oh, is he going to die? I knew he was going to survive.
Yeah.
Same thing with Iron Man.
Yeah.
Even if you want to be even more cynical, like Spider-Man wouldn't die because we knew they were producing another Spider-Man movie already.
Yeah.
Because they're very transparent with all the movies they're making in the future and all that. So a lot of stakes are removed because you know that none of the main characters are ever going to die. Unless they do something in Infinity War, but up until then, no one is going to die.
And I get that argument. I can't argue against it. It's true. It's fact. Like we know that at least until Infinity War Part 1, up until then, everyone is safe. All the main characters are safe. Nobody is going to die at all, or even be like long-term injured. It's not going to happen.
No, and we saw that in Civil War when War Machine crashes in the ending.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's he? Rhodey. Is his name. That was like the only time my like heart, I don't know, like the EKG actually made a bing in that movie. I was like dead for the entire movie, and I was like, oh my god, he crashed. Are they gonna kill a main character? No, they're not. Now he's okay.
But I think that most of these movies, up until now at least, Civil War included, they have made it good about that. The stakes aren't the life of the main characters. The stakes are how will the world work after this? Like
Yeah.
it's not the stake that, oh no, the main character will die or will be injured. It's more like, how will the world recover from this?
Yeah,
Like
and like a lot of interpersonal relationships
yeah,
that are building, like between
yeah.
Captain
So
America
so it's
and
more like the drama is in that thing,
yeah,
but especially in Civil War, because there's no, well, it's sort of, but it's not really a bad guy in that movie. Yeah,
no,
it's
well,
it's a guy with
well,
the bad guy hat, but it's not the
yeah,
bad guy.
no,
It's more like the relationship between them, and they're fighting. So and in that case, then there's the relationship online, not the lives.
yeah,
When it's a superhero versus the bad guy, then it's lives that are on stake,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that creates tension.
But that's also in a movie that is well, in a franchise of movies that
Mhm,
are, they all of them are action or adventure movies,
mhm.
where there is a lot of punching and hitting and shooting, that no one ever dies. It's not a prerequisite to make a good movie that people have to die,
No, no,
but
no.
it is weird after a while that how can they keep surviving this stuff?
Yeah, yeah,
And then
exactly.
it's because they want to make another movie so they can make more money.
Yeah. Uh, oh, yeah.
Yeah, the
Which
Winter
soldier?
Soldier is definitely a
I,
bad guy.
I, I,
Yeah.
did I say the wrong thing? I meant Civil War. Didn't I say Civil War?
No, you said Civil War, and
Oh
that
yeah,
Zemo guy, yeah, he was pretty
yeah.
boring.
Okay, yeah. Civil War. Yeah, the Winter Soldier had a bad guy. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, he's a good bad guy
Yeah,
because he was part of the Captain America
yeah. He's good
storyline.
on
I
this
mean,
side.
yeah. That as well. That is also a thing. Like he was like a super duper bad guy.
No,
Um, and until we found out who he was.
no.
But then I know that Sebastian Stan, who plays Winter Soldier, he had signed a contract for like 9 movies, and they said that right around the time of
Wait.
the Winter Soldier.
I missed the thread. Sorry. What? Who signed a contract for 9 movies?
Sebastian Stan, the guy who
Oh,
plays
oh. Okay. Yeah.
the Winter Soldier and what is Bucky in the first movie.
Mhm.
He signed a contract for 9 movies, so you kind of
No.
knew that he would become a good guy in Civil War.
No.
So that's also a thing. Now that was a bad argument, actually, thinking about it. Nah, scrap that. Scrap that.
By the way,
No.
just talking about movies. Just I don't know if you know that. What's the guy? Bill Pullman, right?
Yeah.
Zero Dark Backwards. It was called,
What?
right? The movie that you reviewed with the
Which
guy.
one?
The Zero Dark Backward. Was that name? No.
Oh, no, the Dark Backward. You're thinking
The
of
Dark
Zero
Backward.
Dark
Yeah.
30.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's why it sounded wrong in my head. Yeah.
Okay.
That's Bill Pullman, right? What's
No,
his name?
it's
No. Because
damn
that's
it.
the guy who died.
Yeah, no, it's not Bill Pullman.
It's-
Hold on. I gotta check.
Okay.
Bill Paxton.
Yeah, Bill Paxton. What I was gonna say is,
Yes.
what I was gonna say is, in the Shield TV show,
Mhm.
he is the actual bad guy during the Winter Soldier movie.
What?
He's like one of the orchestrator of the whole thing with Winter Soldier movie.
Really?
Yeah, like if I remember correctly, it was a while ago, but if I remember correctly, all the Winter Soldier, the complete movie is just a distraction for the Avengers, while
Yeah.
actual things happen.
Yeah. Well, they kind of mentioned that in the movie, though.
Yeah.
That the Winter Soldier thing is because Hydra is taking over the Shield initiative.
Yeah, and Paxton, Bill Paxton is like one of the orchestrator of the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
that's
just
always
the thing I was just reminded of.
Okay.
Because
And
I
I
know
gotta
you like
say-
that actor. So
Oh yeah. Yeah. Also adding all these TV shows to the extended universe is just making me even more furious. But the one thing that I was interested in was after the Winter Soldier. I was like, how did like a big corporation, a big like
Agency.
evil corporation like Hydra take over the Shield Initiative without anyone noticing?
No.
Because technically they've been in control since like the 70s or something. I think they say in the movie.
Something like that, yeah.
And they explain that in Agents of Shield?
Yeah. I go with the Cloverfield argument. If you just go and look it up, you're gonna find the answers. It's not a plot hole.
Okay. No. I never saw it as a plot hole. I actually thought that would be interesting. Like you said before, that would be interesting to read about or like watch.
What we're talking about, as stated, is I follow a lot of shows. It's hard to keep track of everything, and it was quite a while ago. But if I remember correctly, it's like that Hydra has infiltrated or converted important positions throughout Shield, which like turns, it's like turns exactly the right amount and the right people. So when they just we're Hydra, everyone is here. Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah, they're like slowly taking over until no one even noticed.
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden, like, it wasn't Shield anymore. It was Hydra. Oh, okay.
And that was like just so. Everyone ready? We're gonna flip the switch. Yeah, that's basically what happened. For like, they prepared that since like the Second World War, and now now everyone is on board except like I think it's like the 10 people in the show. That's the only people that's not Hydra, sort of.
Well, that is actually interesting.
Yeah. What?
No, is that like the first and second season? I suppose.
No, that's the. Oh wait, no, yeah, maybe.
Because I think the show started in like 2012 or 13.
Yeah, I think it's like in somewhere in the middle, because I think it's somewhere in the middle of the first season that they realize what is happening. The people in the show, and then when the season ends, that's when Winter Soldier happens. When the big revolution, and explosions, and all the things happen, and then season 2 is like the fallout and how do we fix this? We're like 10 guys, like sort of. So yeah.
Do they? No, it's just I was thinking about the movies and I guess the TV show. Do they ever like take Shield back? Because I know they're not part of Shield in Avengers: Age of Ultron, right? They're like a rogue group.
Yeah. I think in the Civil War. Wait. At the beginning of Civil War, Shield is like restored completely.
Yeah, because they're hunting Hydra operatives in Age of Ultron.
And like half that season in the Civil War begins like they're attacking this like base in whatever land.
Okay, yeah.
Germany or Schweiz or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that. The Civil War begins like that. Like the Avengers is attacking a base in a forest.
Oh no, that's Age of Ultron.
Oh yeah, no. Oh yeah, Age of Ultron. Oh, sorry.
Civil War is in Africa. But
yeah. I totally. I totally forgot about Age of Ultron that even existed. I'm sorry.
That one is kind of crappy too.
It is kind of. It's a weak movie. It's important, but it's weak. Yeah.
I gotta ask though, just to get back to the debate thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is Age of Ultron really important to the overarching story? Except for like that first scene where they hunt Hydra people.
Well,
is it really important?
Important is a stretch. It's a puzzle piece for the picture. It's like that event that is starting the talks about are superheroes too powerful? Which then goes on to Civil War, where the papers actually are signed.
I suppose.
But they could. Yeah, sure, they could have done that from like the Winter Soldier. Maybe the movie maybe isn't needed, but it's, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but that's where I would, if I was Kevin Feige, or Feige, I don't know, Feige, the big producer guy
Yeah.
at Marvel. If I were him, that's where I would have started streamlining the franchise. Like I would have cut out Age of Ultron and said, well, they destroyed like billions and millions of dollars of property in the first Avengers.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be enough to write this accord in Civil War?
No.
So instead of stretching it out to another Avengers movie, we could just go from Avengers 1 to Civil War.
Yeah. The only like the it's like really nitpicking almost, but if you go by in the first Avengers, they are actually defending from an alien invasion.
Yeah.
While in Civil War, they're defending from something they made.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I'm not arguing about Civil War. I'm arguing about Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron. Fuck.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I forgot that movie existed.
No,
again.
no, no. I keep like. Yeah. Sorry. No. In Age of Ultron, they're fighting something they created.
Yeah. Oh,
they
definitely.
created Ultron, and that's where like they said, yeah, they did some good stuff. Yeah, they destroyed some things, but more would have been destroyed if they didn't do something. While while in Age of Ultron, it's like they destroyed something, and that wouldn't happen if they haven't done anything.
Yeah, yeah.
So
that always annoyed me with that movie. Also, it's like Tony Stark should be tried for like war crimes or something, high treason or something. I just
100%, 100%. Nobody can argue with that.
No,
I would maybe they should have really just extended the Iron Man 3 ending and stopped and skipped Age of Ultron. I think that would be the most streamlined, because the end of Iron Man 3 has very very much Ultron things with all his suits and all that.
Yeah, and he's controlling them.
Yeah, but if you just extended that a little and just made like a few of them be AI, and be, because he does fight other suits in the end.
Yeah.
So really, if they just rewrote Iron Man 3 and put that thing there, they could have skipped Age of Ultron.
Yeah, and it would have connected better with the first Avengers, because he is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder from the first Avengers movie.
Yeah. So I don't argue with that movie is superfluous.
Okay.
I can't argue with that. The only thing that really Age of Ultron does that is also that you couldn't have made in any other movie, but then you can also argue if that really is necessary. That's Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
But you can also argue, is she really needed at all? Do anybody really care about her?
That's just adding another character.
Yeah, exactly.
A character that in the original X-Men comic books, because she's almost like in the series from the beginning. I think they introduced her like the 12th issue or something.
Yeah.
She's really just a side character.
Yeah.
To Magneto. So it's weird why they added her. I guess that's a fan service thing.
Yeah,
that's why I don't.
I think one fan service, because she is a favorite. That you can't argue favorite.
Yeah, and her powers are cool.
Yeah, she has cool powers. That's the second point. She has cool powers. And the third thing is it helps the Avengers to not be such a sausage fest. It's True. But that should have been something they faced from the beginning. Like, really, there's no need for Hawkeye. You could have put in like Scarlet Witch in the beginning instead. Yeah, that would.
Yeah. Because they never really utilized that character. They have like a great actor, and he's never in the movies really. He's like, I'm going to shoot an arrow, and
people are like talking about he's a bad superhero. No, he's not a bad superhero. He's just really really badly written, and he doesn't get any screen time, and they don't know what to do with him.
Exactly. That is a perfect character that they could actually kill off to create some form of like stakes. Why don't they just kill him?
Yeah. But
honestly,
I don't know. Maybe he's gonna die in the first scene in Infinity Wars.
He must. He is a regular human. The only thing is he can aim really well. He's gonna die.
Yeah, but I mean, like if Yeah, but that's Black Widow is also that. She can
Yeah, I
fight
know.
really well.
Yeah,
And she
I
she can
suppose.
she holds her own in those movies.
Yeah,
Really?
but yeah, but thinking from that aspect, they've at least written her a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like you can't fault Hawkeye for being just a regular human that can shoot well.
No, I'm
No,
not doing that. I'm just saying that if
no,
they're gonna kill someone, it's gonna be him because they've
yeah,
unwritten him, and he is
yeah,
technically just a normal human being.
mhm, yeah,
The same thing would happen with Black Widow, except they actually wrote her pretty good.
yeah. But I so that's the only thing with Age of Ultron that movie needs to exist for. That's
You know,
Scarlet Witch, and
but
you really need her.
yeah, and if you're gonna nitpick even more, I suppose it is one of the movies where they introduce one of the Infinity Stones,
Um,
because
do
that
they?
is like one of the yeah,
Oh yeah,
it's
the
the
souls.
thing in the Vision's forehead.
Yeah, but that isn't actually introduced in that movie. That's introduced in the first movie, first Avengers.
It, oh yeah, it's from the
That's
scepter
Loki's
thing.
Loki's
Oh
scepter.
yeah.
So
Oh
yeah,
come
no.
on. Then why the fuck did they make Age of Ultron? Stupid movie. Stupid movie.
Yeah, it's uh
Uh, yeah. And just some other things that I really dislike with those movies. My main thing is
yeah.
the money aspect, but we're gonna get there eventually.
Are we
Um,
really?
yes, because that is my final like if all else fails, I'm gonna say, oh, it's just they're just making it for the money.
Yeah.
But another thing that I find kind of interesting is well, it's a problem that pops up in other
Mhm.
comic books and mangas and stuff. But they introduce Thor, a
Mhm.
god, an immortal
Yeah.
being,
Yeah.
in his first movie, and then he appears in the Avengers movies. How is that not addressed more? Like when he appears on Earth,
Mhm.
that just that legitimizes all religions. They're like, yes, look, gods exist. That should just throw the world into complete chaos. But they never talk about that. I
Well,
mean, they could
true.
really write that into a bunch of action movies, but that's one of those things that I found interesting, and I would have liked them to work more with.
Well, it's true, but it's also this like it is a stretch of the imagination since they don't really address it.
You
But
know,
on the other hand, it's a guy who says he's a god with superpowers. That's like really it. He never really does anything godlike to the people. He never talked to the people. He
no,
never. He's just a guy who says I'm a god, and people are like, okay, have fun, dude, being a god.
yeah,
Listen,
yeah,
like
I suppose.
yeah, they never
Uh,
address it. No, but
no,
yeah,
but
but
we as an audience knows that he is a god who comes
yeah,
from another world.
but in this universe, nobody actually knows that. It just he says that, and then he goes
Yeah,
away for a while, and then he comes
yeah,
back, and I'm still a god. Yeah, okay, sure, dude. Um, and I do think, and I know they make a few like reference regarding this again in Agents of Shield. I always go back to it because that's like Agents of Shield is more or less like the
filling up the plot holes.
no, not filling up the plot holes. It's like the what do you say when you build a wall between the stones? You put I don't remember what
Oh,
that's called.
cement. I
I
know
don't,
what you mean, but yeah,
yeah, sure.
it's technically cement, but you say something else. I don't remember.
Let's go with that. But
Yeah,
it is
it's the
like
glue that
that.
holds it together.
Yeah, sort of. And it doesn't need anything. But if you have any questions or you want to do a deep dive into something, it exists in that show.
Okay.
And in that they make reference regarding this god thing, and that like nobody actually takes it serious. They're like, I think it's one episode, an Asgardian, Sif. If you,
Yeah, the girl from his
yeah,
like crew in
yeah.
Asgard. Yeah.
She appears on Earth, and they're like, "Who is this?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's a god."
Oh yeah, a god just appeared.
Yeah, there's a god. It's like, yeah, there are
No, don't
gods.
bow. Don't bow. It's just a god.
Yeah, it's like, but it do it like this tongue in cheek between the characters, like, oh god. So
Oh my god.
there are a little small reference like that in the show, But I think you should just go with
See
who
it.
would believe him. If
Yeah.
that happened in our world, would anyone believe him?
No, and
No.
that's like part of the that's like the big joke in the first Thor movie. That
Yeah.
oh sure you're a god, you're a
Yeah.
god. Yes, yeah.
No. So that's
Of
why they
course.
don't address it. And I don't think
Yeah, I
anyone
suppose.
really. But do they in the movies ever? Yeah, Natalie Portman. I think she's the only one who actually goes to Asgardian.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think anyone else ever does.
No,
Do
yeah,
they?
no, she goes there. Yeah, I was gonna say she was in a coma, but she actually is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
So like he doesn't. I don't think anyone believes him.
No, I guess not.
And also, the people
Um.
know there are aliens. Like aliens exists now in the world.
Yeah. That's another thing. Like those are like interesting. They're not interesting if you want to make an action movie where people
No.
punch each other, but like to make it like compelling, I suppose, like drama or thriller to
Mhm.
actually like, acknowledge. But yes, we are now living in a world where aliens and gods exist.
Mm.
That would have been
Deal
super
with
interesting,
it.
but it wouldn't have made a good action movie.
No.
I think
So, yeah.
that's why they didn't
So
continue with those
I think
storylines.
most of those things are like just that nobody actually believes them.
Yeah, people just accept it. Like, okay,
Yeah, fine.
aliens. Well, we have robots. Now we have aliens. Whatever.
What else? Yeah, it's like
Well,
it is a superhero world. Like
yeah, I know.
in
I know.
superhero worlds, like nobody like nobody
those
actually
kind of
questions like Spider-Man in the movies. Like,
No,
how could you?
no.
What are you? I'm Spider-Man. Okay, fine.
But I guess he kind of becomes a phenomenon in those movies. Like everyone knows, oh, Spider-Man, we have our hero. But
Yeah.
that's because they only have to focus on one hero instead of a
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I had something else. No.
Nope, you didn't.
What were we talking about before Spider-Man?
Uh,
Just before Spider-Man. What were we
Age of
saying?
Ultron, Agents of Shield, gods, aliens,
People.
Scarlet Witch.
Damn it! No. Yeah. I remember.
Eureka!
Yeah. I'm gonna try to segue into other franchises here, but starting with like the one thing that was kind of good about Batman vs Superman.
Oh.
This kind of ties in with.
We're going
God
into
being-
DC now. Okay.
Yes. We need to talk about DC.
Yeah, that's true. I guess.
Yeah. Because you have Man of Steel, where this basically godlike creature who is also an alien, so he covers both of those aliens and gods. He comes to Earth and it upends that whole world. So in Batman vs Superman, people kind of have to question who is he actually? Is he a god, or is he a person, or is he an alien? And it becomes almost political.
No.
And that aspect of Batman vs Superman is kind of interesting because they actually question what would happen if a superhero or if a god appeared on Earth.
Yeah. Well,
which they never address in the Marvel movies.
Yeah, you have a point there. That's what DC are doing well, and Marvel is doing poorly. All those aspects about how the world is reacting to these things, and like reacting in a real way. And
in a grounded way.
Yeah, and how is the leaders of the world gonna? Yeah, Civil War tried, but not really.
Not really.
It
was like you have to sign this accord. Nope, and then they started punching each other.
Yeah, sort of. And it's like, but all the leaders have said that you should, and it wasn't any weight to it. While in Batman vs Superman, there's like real weight on everything.
That's the core of that movie.
Yeah.
The question is he a threat or is he like a savior?
Yeah. The only issue is like that's the one thing that DC does well.
Yeah.
And the one thing Marvel does poorly. Marvel does everything else great. DC does everything else poorly.
Yeah, because that movie is a fucking mess.
Oh yeah.
Except for that one thing, it's just terrible.
I only seen the one version. I saw the extended version.
Oh my god, it's even worse.
It is.
Yeah,
But
people said like, oh no, it fills in a lot of
yeah,
gaps and plot holes.
that's what I heard too. And then when I saw it, I was like, wait, is this with the gaps filled in? What the fuck is
Oh
the original?
no, this is the thing. This is the thing. I watched the short cut,
Yeah.
in the theaters,
Yeah.
and it was just terrible. And then I heard about this extended cut. It's like, oh, 3 hours long. It's like a Mastodon movie. I love that. I'll give it another shot. So I watched that. The extended version, or the ultimate cut, it's the exact same movie, only like 18 minutes longer. So it's just as boring, only longer.
And what is the things that they fill in? Is like more punching scenes, or like, is there any talks or
they like the biggest thing they add is like it's an R rating. So they add a lot of CGI blood when people are shot.
Okay.
That's one thing which it doesn't. Yeah, it's either here nor there. A big chunk of the new scenes are about you know this. There is like a witness from when the terrorists, I suppose, they shoot all those people in Africa in the beginning, before when Lois Lane is there to interview this terrorist leader, and then the Lex Luthor henchmen are shooting or gunning them down to make it look like Superman killed them. There's a witness there, this girl that briefly appears in the theatrical cut.
Okay.
She talks when they have when Superman has to go to court the first time. I think there is like a witness.
One of the actual great scenes of the movie.
Yeah,
I say. Scene.
Yeah, and well, she makes an appearance there, and in the extended cut, we get to see what happens to her after she witnesses in court.
Okay.
Stands trial, whatever. And you get to see how they, well, like spoilers, they kill her. But that's like 10 minutes that we really didn't need. It doesn't add anything. We just get to see her die. That's about it. And there's like small things like that add up to like 15 or 16
It's
minutes.
not like, but just briefly going back to the X-Men series. When I saw the Days of Future Past, did you know there's a cut called the Rogue Cut? Yeah,
I know. I haven't seen it, but
I watched that. That was insane. I wouldn't say it was. I don't know. If you really like the character Rogue, yeah, sure, it's good. It doesn't, but it's a complete storyline that they have just cut from the movie.
Oh,
and I understand why they cut the storyline, because it doesn't really add anything.
No, that has to be in the future, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Exactly. So it isn't really needed, but it's interesting that they cut a whole storyline. That's because the character Rogue is not in the theatrical release.
No.
She's
in one scene in the ending. That's about it.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I
when they're in the school.
Oh yeah.
She's not really in the movie.
No, but in the Rogue Cut, there's like a full 20 minutes when they're like going on a rescue mission to save her from a place, and things happen, and I mean it's cool, and it's a nice story arc, but it doesn't add anything. So
no, it's just, I guess that's why they cut it out.
Yeah, it's understandable, but it's fascinating. I never seen. I don't know any movie that they cut out like a complete story arc.
No, they don't often, or they don't usually say that afterwards. But there are like movies that are completely changed in the editing, like Alien 3. If you watch like the work print cut, or whatever it's called, it's
I don't
like
think I've seen that one.
No, it's a lot longer, and I think I prefer that version.
No,
it was because I like Alien 3.
It's you and me,
but
against the world.
Yeah. But that kind of changes the whole thing. There's a lot more like because well, let's make this brief. There's a lot more talk about the alien in the script the alien was almost supposed to be like a devil. There was a lot more religion in the script than there's in the movie. And there's a lot more of this like demonizing the alien and making it into this like a devil or a demon or something, and it's controlling one of the inmates. And he's like enabling it to do a bunch of stuff. And that's what they cut out of the theatrical release, and that's what they put into this work print or whatever it's called.
Yeah, okay.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So back to Superman versus Batman.
Yes.
Yeah. So, that movie really, like, it's hard to say why it's so bad, really. Because it's so much, and it's so boring. Yeah. Everything is so boring.
It is. It's very boring.
There's two things really that I can point to, and it's probably more, but that's the only two things I can like really verbalize. And that's one, it's the worst Batman we've ever seen on the screen, I would say.
You think?
Yeah, totally, because this Batman he's like, I don't know, he's like a brute. He's more like Bane than he is Batman. There's no finesse. There's no investigation. Like, he's gonna say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go into the data server and get the data thing. I'm gonna be real sneaky. Hey sir, where are you going? Up the bathroom." Yeah, the greatest detective who has ever lived. And like, he just goes around and punch stuff. He doesn't do anything. They say, "Okay, how are you gonna stop Superman?" "I'm gonna put up like 1 billion guns. Then I'm gonna punch him a lot." And
yeah, I suppose
it's like he's supposed to be the brains, and there is no brain at all. It's just punch stuff until it stops moving.
Yeah, there's a bit of disconnect there, but I also think that it is a very different portrayal of Batman, but I think it's kind of interesting that he's more cynical. It feels like, I'm not sure if they mentioned it in the movie, but it feels like he's been Batman for like 20 years.
Oh yeah,
and he's like,
yeah, they like briefly gloss over it.
Okay.
There's like for example, like I really like that, just that detail. I really like that in the Batcave, in like the background, he has Robin's costume on display, and then on it's written, "This is my final joke, Batman."
Yeah. That's in the trailer, but it's never in the movie. I mean, in the trailer he like walk past it, and it's like a wide shot. But in the actual movie, they only like showed in the background.
Yeah, but I like so that really lays the groundwork. And yeah, he's been Batman and probably stopped being Batman. Also, I would say that's the feeling I got. Like, he was Batman, and then Robin died. He imprisoned the Joker, and then he like stopped being Batman.
Yeah,
shortly after.
And I always saw it like he had been like putting the bad guys in prison, and never. I can't kill people, and I'm just gonna beat them down and put them in prison. But after 20 years of just beating up the same bad guys and putting them back in Arkham or back in prison, it's like, you know what? Screw this! I'm gonna kill them. I'm gonna kill them all. That's fuck everything. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. It's an interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting portrayal. Yes, but it's a bad Batman. It's like, did you see the animated Flashpoint, for example?
No.
Flashpoint Paradox. Do you know?
I know about the story arc, but I never read it or watched.
But you know about the Batman story arc there.
Remind me.
Okay, yeah, it's a really interesting. Really, in that story arc, Bruce Wayne died. He was shot in the alley, and his mother goes insane and becomes the Joker, and his father becomes Batman.
That's kind of cool.
Interesting, yeah. But in what I was going to say, in that one, there we have what's it called? The Wayne. I don't know, the father. I don't know, Walter Wayne. I don't know.
Damn it.
That guy.
Yeah. Well, Wayne Senior.
The dad. Yeah. He becomes this, like in Batman Superman, this gritty Batman that is like no mercy, and he uses guns, and he's like, You have to you
Okay.
have to kill the bad guys, or they will just come back. And it's a
Yeah.
fun telling of a story, but in an enclosed environment, like in one history, in one arc.
Yeah, like in a one shot, or yeah,
Yeah,
in one arc.
in a one shot, it's fine. It's interesting, but
But it can't be our main Batman can't be that kind of character.
no, then it's no, it's wrong. It's not Batman. It's like
Yeah, people always say that. It's once again, it's nitpicking. But I gotta say, in the first issue of where Batman appears in Detective Comics, he does actually, he uses a gun, he breaks a guy's back, and he throws another guy off a roof. I just
No.
But
I don't have
Batman
anything.
doesn't.
No, I don't have anything else that he doesn't kill. I just if we're gonna have a Batman, he needs to be a good detective. He can't be like a Bane guy. He can't be like the Bane Batman. I got muscles. I punch stuff. No, because nobody else in the Justice League thinks ever. They're all like just raw emotions and power, and Batman is the one that's like slowing down everyone and let's think about it. And but what we're gonna have in this movie, this Justice League, we're gonna have like 5 guys just punch. And
Yeah, there's gonna be a
4 guys and
lot
1
of
woman.
punching in that movie.
4 guys and 1 woman, and just punch everything. Like, So yeah, I don't like this Batman for that reason.
Okay. I can.
He's not a detective. He's not a detective.
Not really. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, to go back to the debate once again. The DC extended universe, whatever. The DC extended universe.
Yeah.
That is a prime example of how the Marvel movies, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has become like a bad influence on the entire movie industry.
Okay.
Because if you think about it, every like AAA or blockbuster movie nowadays, or like 90% of them are trying to be like part of a franchise, or they try to start up a new franchise, because everyone wants to copy the success of the Marvel movies, but nobody wants to put in the amount of time that the producers of Marvel did with the Marvel universe. So you have Justice League, and they started in 2013, and now in 2017 they want to get to their Avengers already, which took like 4 or 5 years of Marvel to get there.
Yeah.
They just want to get there like now after like 3 movies.
Yeah, they tried to catch up.
Yeah, way too fast.
Yeah.
And you see so many movies that like sacrifice storytelling and character arcs and emotional stakes and stuff to just start up a franchise.
What examples do you have except DC?
I
mean, the only big franchises I can recall all started before Marvel.
Okay, no, I'm thinking about like failed franchises. You have just recently, like not even a month ago, they started. Well, technically they started in 2014, but The Mummy, it was supposed to be the start of this dark universe where they were going to remake all the monster movies from Universal.
Yeah. Okay.
And because they wanted to like put all these references to future movies and like really this was supposed to be the origin story of the dark universe. That movie was terrible. I don't know. You haven't seen it?
No, I haven't. I won't see it. Out of principle.
Don't.
Because I realized I really dislike Tom Cruise. Not because he's a person. I don't really care about that. He as an actor is really, really bad.
Really?
Yeah, he has made like 3 good movies, like ever. All other good movies that he is in, except these 3 movies, which is like Risky Business, Jerry Maguire, and I don't know, Mission Impossible 1 maybe, but that's a stretch also. All those movies, all the movies he is that is good that he is in, is not because of him. He could be replaced by anyone. Because he's an okay actor, but he's nothing special. He's like this like stand-in for a good actor.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I more or less completely disagree. But that's a discussion for another time.
It's another discussion, but yeah. So I'm not going to see it. But I did when you talked about Mummy. Did Universal do this? Universal and Hammer, did they do this before Marvel and DC?
Oh, you mean the Hammer horror movies?
Yeah, Hammer horror movies and the Universal monster movies, with this like this grand this world building and universe. Nothing on the same scale, but isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not super. I don't know a lot about the Hammer movies, but the Universal monster movies, definitely. You mean you had like Dracula versus Frankenstein and Wolfman versus Frankenstein and
Wolfman versus Frankenstein versus Dracula. Also, you have all three.
Yeah, and there's like origin stories and sequels, and then that's the mashups. Yeah, I suppose.
So what I said before isn't correct. That this is the first time this has ever happened. The universe, not in the same like precise or
to the same extent.
No, exactly, but it's the same thing. But I think Universal more did it. They made it up as they went along. They didn't plan anything before.
No, exactly. That's what I think as well. There's like, oh, so now we have a Mummy movie and we have a Dracula movie. How about they meet?
Yeah. Also, back then there wasn't that. It wasn't this like rights dispute. Who owns what? This we own everything.
No.
Everything.
Yeah. All monsters were owned by Universal. So fuck it, we'll do anything.
Yeah. It was like I could also. No, never mind. I was trying to weave in Alien vs Predator and Fred vs Jason, but I couldn't make the thread. So yeah.
No. That's just the versus movie thing, but that never really took off.
It's another thing.
Yeah.
So back to DC.
Yes. No. Well, yeah. Back to other failed franchises because
great.
DC, even if like 90% of the movies suck, it's still somewhat successful so far. We'll see what happens.
They make money. They make a lot of money back.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. but we got Wonder Woman, which was amazing. Yes.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I just want to say, no, I agree. I really liked it. But yeah, there are other failed franchises now, like this new King Arthur movie that came out earlier this year, Legend of the Sword. That is, when you watch it, it is so obviously, just set up for another, maybe not like a universe, but definitely set up for a bunch of sequels.
Yeah.
They want to make it into like a long, like a long franchise of movies, but it's not going to happen because it barely made its budget back. What else? Franchises. Well, Ghostbusters. That was supposed to be a new like Ghostbusters universe.
Was it?
Yeah, they were going to do this Ghostbusters, and then they were going to like at least make one where there was an all-male cast. And
that wasn't that scrapped like really early in the production. I think
in the beginning. It
was scrapped before the female one actually went to cinema. Was scrapped before then, I know.
Yeah, like the first idea of it, because the first idea was like, oh, we're gonna make an all-male out of spite, and that's just stupid.
Yeah.
Say what you will about Ghostbusters, the fact that they were female was not the problem with that movie. But anyway, no. So, but there were plans on making sequels to the female Ghostbusters, and then they were going to make like a male Ghostbusters and like do like different groups, like almost like Ghostbusters became like a franchise, like in the movies, like they became a corporation and had like in different like countries or different states. And they were all going to meet up in some movies, like the Avengers. Okay. That's not going to happen. I don't think they're even going to make a sequel now.
But they did make a lot of money, didn't they?
Yeah, it made a decent amount of money. I think it made like $500 million. That's a lot of money. But and the movie only cost like $150. But if you counter in like PR and all that, I don't think they made a lot of money on it. So I think they scrapped it.
Okay.
Plus the backlash.
Yeah.
And then I don't know if this has failed yet because I don't think they really started it, but they were gonna make like a crossover between. I really want this to happen, but I don't think it's gonna happen. They're gonna make a crossover between the 21 Jump Street characters and the Men in Black characters
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
for some reason. And I was
Well,
like, what?
But was that really like
It was a
seriously
thing.
thought about? Or was it like
It was in pre-production. I mean, pre-production, like the earliest stages. Of
did they have a
pre-production.
treatment?
I don't think so.
No.
Do they ever have treatments when they go into pre-production nowadays?
No. True.
I mean, they planned for the first 10 years of Marvel movies back in 2008. I'm just saying. I don't think they had all those scripts ready.
Well, I don't think that it could count as pre-production in 2005. I don't think.
No, I'm over exaggerating.
Yep.
But like not just that they're like everyone's trying to make a cinematic universe, but every like big movie nowadays has this post-credit scene where they want to introduce something so they can make a sequel.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, they were probably trying to make sequels like back in the 90s as well, but it's much more like obvious now that they just want to make one movie so they can be able to make a bunch of movies after that just to like make more money.
I would say like the big difference is back in the 90s and before, it was more the universal way. Oh, this made money. Let's make another one. Like the decision came after the check came.
Yeah.
While now the decision is more made before the check. It's like we think we just assume that every movie we're gonna make is gonna be like the top billing, and we're gonna make like 7 sequels. Like we assume every movie. While back in the days, it was more like, yeah, we're gonna make a movie and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
Which also resulted in, there's pro and cons with both ways, because if you do it the old way, that's when you get these shitty sequels. That is like that you can see on the poster that this was never seriously thought about before, and it was just because of the money.
Yeah, it's a cash grab.
Yeah, it's just like, for example, like American Pies, for example.
Like,
you can really see that those movies are just cash grabs. While now, sure, they're cash grabs, but now they have at least thought about that. If this is gonna go well, then we have material for a second one. And the sequels now, they're still not good, usually, but they're better. It's a better standard of sequels than it was before, I would say.
Yeah, I kind of agree, and it's like you say, there's pros and cons, because it is good that they actually plan, so they don't just throw together an Iron Man 2 or whatever. Yeah. They actually think about what they're going to do.
My best example of this is the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. That's my best example. I don't know if you watched the behind the scenes of that movie.
Well, yeah, a long time ago.
Oh wait, no, maybe it's behind the scenes. Never mind. The people who made the first one, I don't remember who they are, but the one who wrote the script, they were asked, like, make a pirate movie. And before that one, Pirates of the Caribbean, no pirate movie ever made good money, like ever. No. Like not since like Aerosmith.
Like since the 40s or 50s or something.
Never. So they were like, okay, we're just gonna be able to make one. So let's put in everything you want in a pirates movie. Like everything, like ghost ships and gold treasures and everything we want. It's in this movie. Yeah. And then it was a hit. And then the studio come, hey, we need 2 more. And they were like, but we used all our ideas. We just everything we wanted to do, we did with the first one. And
that is a good example. Yeah.
It's my best example of like just when you don't plan, when you expect it not to work. That's when you get these horrible sequels.
Yeah, so they had like free reigns to do whatever they wanted in the first one, because it was just going to be a pirate movie.
Yeah,
and that's why they weren't like there were no like hurdles they had to go through. There was no like no, you can't do that. We got to save them
No.
for a sequel. They could just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But yeah, when they then had to make the sequels, it was like, yeah, we don't want anymore. We have the good one already.
Yeah, and that's why we have like a jar of sand with the heart or something. I don't even remember. And
Yeah,
squid guy, and I don't know.
Yeah, the second and third get kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Convoluted.
I actually,
especially the third one.
I'm gonna link that to you. I saw a great an analysis of the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, where they talked about they went through like the whole movie. It's like a 40 minutes video, where they talk about that movie is a perfect example of good filmmaking, because every scene in that entire movie tells more than one thing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's a sign of good movie making. That if a scene only does one thing, then that's a bad scene.
Yeah,
Usually.
there's not as much depth to it.
Yeah. So yeah,
that is also a telltale sign. Huh?
No, I said I'm gonna link that to you later. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't say I'm gonna leave now. Oh, okay. No, yeah, but that's like a perfect sign of like making one movie, focus on one movie, and make that the best movie you can, instead of spreading it out over an entire like franchise, like quality over quantity.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I dislike with the Marvel movies. The fact there are these like big no-nos that you can't kill these characters.
Yeah.
You have to incorporate these things into the script if we're going to be able to make the other movies. There's all these rules. I haven't read. I don't know if there are rules, but it feels like there are rules to making a Marvel movie.
Yeah, you lose immersion in the movie because of all you notice these things.
Yeah, exactly, and they become kind of cookie cutter because every Marvel movie more or less is kind of like the same, even in like visual style. You've seen these the videos about why are the Marvel movies so ugly and why can't you remember the music?
Yeah,
that's like a big part of it.
Yeah,
it doesn't, especially also since they're so meticulously planned. They have to follow this formula so they won't fail because there's way too much money at stake.
Yeah,
and so they never really dare to like, this didn't work out, we made a mistake, but it doesn't matter, it's just like a $10 million movie. No, these are like $250 million movies.
And I think that's why Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, was so praised, because that was really the only movie they ever made that was a risk, and they more or less it could have been written off because because it was so like separated from the others. So if that would have bombed, it would have been a big deal for the
no, it would have been its own movie.
Yeah, and that's why they were able to take a lot of risks, and that's I think why people really like it, because it's so different, because it tried new things.
Exactly, it's pretty different from the other ones. If you compare it to Iron Man or Captain America or Thor movies.
But I really think that just watching sure, it's trailers and sure, fine. But I think the movies in Phase 3 really will go that way. Just Doctor Strange was also very interesting, very daring in how it was made, really, if you compare it to the rest of the movies. The
sort of
well, the weird angles and the weird like effects.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
And all those things. It was very out there if you compare it with the other movies, really. And then so we have that one, and then Guardians of the Galaxy. People have given it bad reviews. You don't like it. I haven't seen it, so I can't say anything about that. Spider-Man is going to be a Spider-Man movie. Nothing to say about that. It's
no,
cool,
I have my
hopes
up.
Keaton. Cool to see Keaton. I like that Keaton is back in the business. I like that.
Yeah, I hope he does a good job though.
Yeah, and
you never know.
The new Thor looks amazing.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned that before. I know I mentioned it in my podcast,
Yeah.
my I Hate Marvel podcast, but I think I mentioned it to you too. The trailers sell the movies very well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically why I have gone and seen almost every one of them in the cinema. It's like, oh no, not another one, but it looks really cool.
but just yeah, I agree with you. That's unfortunately DC too really great at making trailers, but
Yeah.
uh, but I think Thor the new Ragnarok, I it looks very different than the others. Yeah, it looks really like this movie also will take some risks. Just the visuals and the setting and the little bits of story we got.
Yeah.
The whole Hell and Asgard, that story arc. Yeah, it's gonna be boring. Like big guy explode things, bleh. But
Yeah.
but the whole thing with the gladiator ring and the Hulk, how did he end up there, and all
Yeah.
these that seems like it can be interesting. And I
Yeah.
think those can be different and go. I think Marvel has learned from this. We can't make every movie the same thing. So I
No,
think that
exactly. Because
really now they're stepping up.
yeah, and they it does feel like they started after Age of Ultron, because a lot of people said that they were kind of disappointed about that, and I know Red Letter Media said that this was like the first showing of a crack in the armor.
Yeah,
As they said,
totally.
they were like buckling under the weight.
Totally.
And they wanted to make a bit more unique movies after that. That's why they hired Edgar Wright to make the Ant-Man movie.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he was too out there. So I'm like, no, you have to do it like this, and he like, fuck you, and left.
Yeah.
But and the same thing with Guardians of the Galaxy before that. But
Yeah.
But then Ragnarok is being directed by Taika Waititi. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, I looked up. I don't remember now, but I looked it up, looked him up, and there was some good stuff, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much he was involved, but I know he was involved with Flight of the Conchords.
All right.
And then one of the greatest comedies ever. I mean,
Eagle vs. Shark.
That too, but what we do in the shadows.
Oh,
Did you see that?
I still haven't seen it.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I know. I have
so good.
I have no negative feelings against it. It's on my list, but it's just one of those movies that I know I'm gonna love, but I just never come around to seeing it. You have those movies too. We all have those movies.
Yeah, definitely,
it's
definitely.
Like another movie on that list, Apocalypse Now. Never seen it.
Oh, okay.
But
A quick side note, because we've been talking for over 2 hours now, but there's this thing. I mean, I consider myself a cinephile. I mean, most of my life revolves around movies. Kind of sad, but anyway, there and when you call yourself like a movie buff or a movie enthusiast or cinephile, there feels like there's like certain movies that you kind of have to have seen.
Yeah.
Do you have that?
Oh yeah, totally.
I should have seen this, because I'm a fan of movies.
Yeah.
And
like a staple of the industry. Like you need to see this if you enjoy it. Like,
yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna bash another YouTuber here. I don't know. I'm punching up, so I think it's okay. I don't know if you know who Bobby Burns is.
Heard the names, never really got into him or
Okay.
things, but I've heard the name around.
Yeah, I kind of like him.
Like
he's pretty good. But now around the time when Alien Covenant came out, he made this video called Millennials Watching Alien for the first time. I was like, oh, he's going to show it to his stupid friends that I haven't seen like one of the best movies ever made. I think it was because he always starts his movie reviews with, my name is Bobby Burns and I love movies. And I'm like, okay, he's a movie buff. But it turns out, I mean, he's like 24, 25 or something. No. He had never seen Alien before 2017.
Yeah.
That just blew my mind. Because that feels like one of those movies that as soon as you like start calling yourself like a movie buff or anything, that's one of those movies you kind of have to watch.
Yeah, but there's a lot of yeah. You're right, but there are a lot of movies that I have never seen that you need to watch if you are a movie buff.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
of course,
I
of
haven't
course.
seen now. I'm putting myself out there, but I haven't seen like Casablanca. I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen Godfather Part Two. Like,
Really?
no, I got a Apocalypse Now, as I said earlier.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah,
a lot of these movies I haven't seen, but I've seen like the Belko Experiment, like that nobody ever heard of. Like,
yeah,
so we all have this lack of just lack of knowledge
yeah.
and lack of things because
No,
you never come around to it.
no,
And
definitely, definitely. But just just, and it's also partly personal because
yeah,
Alien is one of my absolute favorite movies,
yeah,
and it is considered one of the best, like, at least horror movies ever made.
yeah.
So it just blew my mind.
But just
That
have you
specifically that movie.
just tip? Have you seen this channel Awesome?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the show Tamara Never Seen?
No.
Okay, you should check it out. It's one of the people who work there, Tamara, and she hasn't seen anything, like literally anything. So every episode is she watching one of these cult classic. She's done everything from like RoboCop to Never-Ending Story. Just never
Okay,
seen
that's
anything ever. Like,
that's kind of cool.
yeah,
Yeah,
um,
to like see someone like experience like a movie for the first time. That's
yeah.
cool.
Um, I'm thinking how much longer for this? Either we like start to quit it now, or I need a break because
Okay, no, we should wind down. My
yeah.
my initial thought was like, oh, we're gonna go for like an hour.
Oh, yeah.
I thought we were gonna run out of stuff to talk about, but okay,
Really? We
yeah,
haven't we
but
haven't even touched like half of it.
no, oh, we can go for so long, but
We never even talked about Wonder Woman.
no, okay. Um, so my final statement
Yeah,
about why I don't like the Marvel movies, and then we
yeah.
can talk about Wonder Woman for a while because that's actually a good one.
No,
Um,
no, no. We need to like wind down now. I
yeah,
call
yeah.
it quits here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
But it is that I feel that like the biggest problem for me, that because I'm very cynical when it comes to those
yeah,
things, is that well, yeah, it feels like they're not making the movies because they want to make good movies. It feels like it was so calculated from the beginning that this is like more a business than it is like movie making.
yeah,
They don't see these movies as like works of art. These are just what dollar signs for the people involved, at least
yeah,
on the producer level. And I feel that like bleeds through in how every movie looks the same. The music is very low key, so we can focus on the important parts, and we just move on to the next movie.
yeah,
Everything is focused around making a popcorn movie that people can like stare at for 2 hours and then just forget that whatever happened, pay for the next one.
yeah.
That
And
is my absolute biggest problem with the movies.
yeah, and I do not agree with that. Yes, of course, movies are made for money. All movies are, except the little small independent movie that like one guy and his friends made. But and that it bleeds through, yes, at times. Like we talked, like they are all uniform and they're made in the same way with the same thing, and there's yeah. Um, but I think the world building and all the things around it, like all this, like I said, the complexity of have one big arc and many mini arcs, and you can take any mini arc away from the whole, and it's still a worthy story. And that's really my biggest thing. I like story, like big, complex stories with a lot of ins and outs and a lot of ways to look at it, and all these things. I like the complexity of it. I think if you just I, I I feel almost like I've been a little spoiled now for other movies, because sometimes when I watch movies nowadays, I'm like, yeah, this is kind of like boring. It's just like a beginning, middle, end. Where's the complexity? Where's the other things? Where the like the things around it? How does the world work? What's this thing? That yeah, no, we only have these three characters. You falling and yeah. So not all movies, but some movies.
Yeah, yeah,
And
I understand.
and I just really like the interconnectivity with all the characters and all these things and all these puzzle pieces together, and actually putting it all together and see how everything works behind. What are you doing while this movie's going on? What are you
Yeah,
doing during that time? And that's what I like. That's what
yeah,
I'm here for.
yeah, and to agree with you, I think that is what they set out to do.
Yeah,
They these movies are made for people like you that really like those kind of storytelling.
yeah,
Um, but and and that's why those are valid arguments, and that's why I kind of have to agree with what you say, even if I don't like the movies.
yeah,
But and I'm coming from the completely other side. I love when a movie is a lot smaller, when you once again the quantity over quality, where you have 3 characters that you can really delve deep into
mhm,
for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. And that's like my preferred way of telling a story.
yeah,
So this whole argument really is only up to personal preference.
yeah. It's like I like a lot of story. You like a little but good one.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Yeah, and I
So
just like
I
a
can
lot.
definitely see your point. And I see why people like them, and like I said, I do like a few of them,
Yeah,
and one of them I really really like.
yeah. But
So
I can say honestly, this way that you see it, like that the money grabbing is bleeding through.
mm,
I have never seen it, or I can't see that at all. Actually, I
no,
know I know logically that's what's happening behind the screen, but on the
mm,
screen I can't see it.
okay, yeah, and that's where I just can't let go of that. I know they're making it only to
Yeah.
make a profit. I can't let go of that.
Yeah, okay.
So that's my main problem with it.
Well, I guess
Okay,
that's one place to end it.
yeah, I guess. Do you
Yeah.
want to just quickly talk a little bit about Wonder Woman, or
Um, no, we can take that another podcast. You can
oh,
invite me
sure,
another time and we'll talk about it then.
definitely.
So,
But yeah, we agreed to disagree, I suppose.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I see your points, and they're very valid, most of them.
Well, I I would say the same thing. I see your points, but I don't think all of them are valid. Some are valid, some are not, in my
Yeah,
opinion. But I can understand them.
yeah, and that's what we do here.
Yes.
We agree to disagree. But okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that was our first live experience.
Yeah.
It went on a lot longer than I thought, but I
Yeah.
had fun at least.
Yeah.
I
So did
guess you're
I.
jonesing a little bit, but
Yes.
okay. But yeah, I'm just gonna wrap it up. So if you want to, you could
Yeah.
hop out.
Yeah. I'll be off.
Okay. Well,
See you around.
yeah, we'll talk later.
Bye.
Bye. So, oh, he finally left. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, that was our first live podcast, or I guess our first live show. And I just want to wrap it up like I usually do. We had one watcher. Thank you, or one viewer. Thank you, Martin. That was fun. We had a little bit of a what do you call it? We talked a little bit in the chat. We got the live experience a little bit. Hopefully, it'll be more later, but for now, it's pretty good. And all I want to say is that everyone watching later in the archive, hit like if you like, subscribe if you want to see more, leave comments if you think if you want to give some constructive criticism to how we could make this better, because we went on for like 2 hours and 16 minutes. That was a long time. I didn't think that, so maybe we could like shorten it, keep it a little more focused. I don't know. That's what I like in my movies. But leave constructive criticism, or just tell me that I'm an idiot, or you want to kill me, or whatever. Troll me, whatever. Yeah, but definitely tell me if you want to see more live shows. And if you want to support this show even more, be sure to check out my Patreon. I'm pretty sure there's a link down in the description. But other than that, I'm going to try to review It Comes at Night, during this week. I'm not sure when, but after that, we're going to talk about Spider-Man, because Spider-Man is coming this week, and I'm going to watch it this Saturday. So yeah, look out for my Spider-Man review. And after that, the summer is full of pretty good movies. We have Dunkirk, we have Baby Driver. So that's what on the horizon. But really, until then, have a good one.